Okay, this is the long form video answer to the question, is a nuclear war winnable? Well, in order to do that and answer that, we first of all have to define what is winnable. Then we'll look at the scenario where a large nuclear superpower, such as the United States, go to war with a smaller one like North Korea. And then we'll also look at what happens in a situation where we have peer-to-peer, say the United States versus the Russian Federation. Is that possible to win, even with a first strike? Well, we'll look at mutual assured destruction. We'll also look at what decapitation strikes, if that would give you a chance to win one of these things. And then we'll sum up our results at the end of the day. So, first of all, what is winnable? To me, I define winnable in the context of a nuclear war as if most of my population survives, if most of our infrastructure survives, we have enough infrastructure to support our civilization without collapsing into a dark ages or the Middle Ages. We have enough hospital facilities that will survive to give timely treatment to the sick and the wounded. So we don't have people dying in the parking lots or this horrible senile threads where basically the only thing left is salt water and torn sheets to treat the people with. We have enough food to keep everybody fed. There was no famine afterwards, and we may take a few months to a year to recover, but eventually our civilization will be back to where it was, or at least limping along at a coherent level that we can sustain that while we rebuild. If we are blown into a post-apocalyptic Mad Max nuclear hellscape, that's a loss. If we are left eking out a living as post-apocalyptic peasants, as in threads, we've lost. So there that is. Now, if we're going to war against North Korea, that is winnable. Most of North Koreans' ICBMs are liquid fueled, although they're working on testing solid fuel ones, which means they're extremely vulnerable. They're on a launch pad. You have to fuel them before launching them. That takes time. We'd spot on our satellites our Trident submarines, which patrol off their coast. We'll be able to nail them in a matter of minutes of firing our Trident missiles, and they would never get off the ground. If by some miracle they did get a few off the ground, the GMDs in Alaska and in Vanderbilt will protect the continental United States and Canada, and the Sea Aegeus and Land Aegeus in Guam and in Hawaii would protect those islands from anything. Of course, they have a lot of mobile launchers for short range, intermediate range, so it certainly would not be winnable for South Korea and Japan. They would get hit pretty bad. I would not be wanting to live in Seoul, for instance. Now, peer-to-peer, if you're looking at Russian Federation, the United States of America with its NATO allies, well, that's a totally different story. You have the concept of MAD. That means that even if I launch a first strike, enough of my enemy's missile systems and other nuclear delivery systems will survive that I am toast, that they will be able to devastate my country, reduce it to a radioactive slag heap. Both the Russian Federation and the United States / NATO have the capability to survive a first strike and still have credible amount of firepower left to lay waste to the Russian Federation, and vice versa in that aspect of it. So, how about a decapitation strike? What if I nail Washington and Moscow and kill all the leadership so everything is confused? Well, on the Russian side, they have the dead hand system, which will, once it loses contact with Moscow and has detects signs of nuclear explosions within the Russian Federation, would automatically launch all the remaining Russian nuclear assets. America, what it uses is a delegation system, as was outlined in Daniel Ellsberg's Doomsday Machine book, where theater commanders and even lower down will, if they lose contact with the high command and the president, will engage in launching the weapons they have. In fact, even the British have a system where they have a letter from the Prime Minister if they lose contact from their nuclear submarines to the Prime Minister. They open the letter and that tells them what to do. So essentially that is the delegation there. I'm sure the French have the same for their nuclear submarines too. So decapitation will not work. Now, the counter-strike, it'll be quite vicious, would lay waste to everything. The Americans will really get hit bad because they have no civil defense, no pre-positioned supplies outside their cities to speak of. Russia, not so bad because they have bunkers, as was seen in the Azov steel factory in the battle for Mariupol. Lots of tunnels underneath. All their factories and cities have tunnels underneath in the old Soviet Union cities and factories. So they'll weather it better, although the Americans could conceivably ground burst in their major cities. Therefore, clearing out the tunnels from the using the ground burst will just blow everything through and creating mass casualties in that respect. So, however, it plays out. A peer-to-peer nuclear war is not winnable. The only way to win a nuclear war is to never have one. So let us work towards disarmament in all countries, in China, in Canada, America, Europe, Russia, everywhere. Let's work towards getting rid of these things. Also, thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe and like and comment below. Bye for now.